Well, let's turn now to a video that has gone viral. You may have seen it, or at least seen the link. I know I watched it along with what was, by this morning, 70 million other people. It's a moving video and a well-produced one at that. Here's a clip of this.
For 26 years, Kony has been kidnapping children into his rebel group, the LRA. Turning the girls into sex slaves. And the boys into child soldiers.
All right, so according to the group's website, the group that makes this is called Invisible Children. Kony 2012 is a film and a campaign by Invisible Children that aims to make Joseph Kony famous, not to celebrate him, but to raise support for his arrest and set precedent for international justice. Now, most people agree that Joseph Kony is a very bad man. But the film advocates for more U.S. involvement and direct military action. President Obama has already sent in 100 combat troops to try to help get rid of Joseph Kony, which is, in no uncertain terms, the U.S. government using resources to take down and possibly kill a man in another country. And we want to talk about some of the implications of the release of this video and do some reading between the lines with war correspondent Keith Harmon-Snow. Hey there, Keith. Let's talk about this. 70 million viewers and counting. Kony 2012 is already the fastest growing social media video campaign we've ever seen. Your thoughts on this?
Well, this is absolute propaganda, Christine. Not only is it full of lies, it's simplistic, and it's directing the American public to support further military action in Africa, where we are already there.
What are you say that this film is full of lies? What is not true about the film?
For example, that Kony has 30,000 children in his army. This is not true. Over the last 26 years of Kony's military actions against the government of Uganda, there have been supposedly 30,000 children abducted. Who abducted them is not clear, because Museveni, the president of Uganda, is responsible for genocide in northern Uganda, and he needs Kony to be able to justify continuing U.S. support and military support and now sending in troops, which we've been doing for quite some time. So one of the lies in the film is that Kony is not supported by anyone. Kony has an office in Washington, D.C. The United States government has direct connections to Kony. If they wanted to get rid of this guy, they could get rid of him very quickly. Are you telling me that in 2012, we don't have the sophisticated satellite technology to track down a single African warlord in Africa? Nonsense. Look at Jonas Savimbi, the guy we supported, the CIA supported for years in Angola. As soon as the United States wanted him gone, he was gone within a week, because the United States had Israel send in special forces and eliminate Jonas Savimbi. So Kony is kept there to serve the interests of the United States and to serve the interests of the Ugandan government, because as long as they have a bogeyman to claim is creating these atrocities, Museveni can shed the blame for the genocide against 2 million Acholi people onto this guy, Joseph Kony, and he can always ask the United States and the Pentagon for more military hardware, more aid, which is converted to military hardware, and more troops, and that's exactly what they've done.
I mean, I think that this criticism has been launched not just by you, but by a whole lot of people. If the U.S. government wanted to find him, they could. It is, after all, 2012. We have brilliant intelligence officers out there. On the other hand, this is more of a tribal area than even, Afghanistan in a lot of parts of Africa. And, think about how long it took to find Osama bin Laden. And I'm not defending it. I'm just wondering, I mean, there have been a lot of criticism unleashed against this film since it went viral a couple days ago. One of the complaints also is that Joseph Kony hasn't even been in Uganda for the last 6 years. Invisible Children has also been criticized for, only giving 1/3 of their money to actually helping children in Uganda. But the bottom line is their mission has more to do with advocacy and raising awareness, and they've been, pretty honest about this all along. So why should it matter? I mean, you call it a propaganda film. Why should it matter that a couple of guys who raised a bunch of money are putting this out there?
Well, what the American public doesn't want to look at is their whiteness. This is all about whiteness. That's why the film starts off with a bunch of white kids, a white child and a white family. And it connects our hearts to the white man. I mean, I'm the white man who went into Africa. In the beginning, it was like I was Tarzan. Here I am in Central Africa on a bicycle. Well, that was 1991. Now I work as a genocide investigator, looking at one of the things that we have to look at is the role of people like myself, like Invisible Children, like John Prendergast, who you see in the film stating another couple of lies, and that is that no one in the U.S. government is going to do enough to stop this problem or do enough. He keeps mentioning the word enough. Enough is his organization. Enough is funded by the intelligence sector, by the Center for American Progress. Center for American Progress has funded 5 or 6 organizations to create FLAC around Central Africa. One of these is STAND, Students Taking Action Now on Darfur. Another one is Invisible Children on Uganda. Another one is the Resolve Group, also on Uganda. And Save Hope for the Congo. Raise Hope for the Congo. That's another one. All funded by the intelligence sector, by the Center for American Progress. And John Prendergast is the intelligence sector. In 1996, he was an intelligence operative in the National Security Council for William Jefferson Clinton. At the very time that we were invading the Congo from Uganda, and they could have eliminated Kony then when we were sending in all these C-130s, American military on the ground in Uganda in 1996 for the invasion of the Congo. And since 1990, we've been supporting the Sudan People's Liberation Army covertly in Sudan. And you see these guys from from Invisible Children.
Well, Keith, let me get in here a second. You seem to be saying that the U.S. actually has no interest in finding Kony, capturing Kony, and that this is sort of just a distraction film connected to the U.S. government and the intelligence community. Am I getting that right? Absolutely.
They have no interest in finding Kony. If they wanted to eliminate him, they could eliminate him anytime. It's not about that. They need him. Museveni, the president of Uganda, came to power between 1980 and 1986, backed by Israel, Britain, and the United States. Kony came from a woman named Joseph Lequena. And no, I mean, these facts are not in the propaganda thing because it's too complicated. They say it's too complicated for the American public. But if you look at the history, Museveni created these death camps in Uganda. And the death camps had 2 million people in them. In order to justify herding the Acholi people into these death camps with a written policy for genocide against the Acholi people, Museveni had to have somebody to use as the bogeyman to claim that he was protecting these people from, and that was Joseph Kony.
But as far as this film, this, as you say, propaganda film, this film put out, and that has now been viewed by millions, by the group Invisible Children, what's really the problem with it? I mean, everyone that comes out with a film or a documentary has an agenda. They leave out facts and put emphasis on other facts to get their message across. Why is it dangerous that this has been seen by so many people?
Most people who see it couldn't even pinpoint Uganda on a map. Suddenly something, that's the nature of reactivity. Suddenly something has provoked them to take some action. So Invisible Children has sold out of all of their propaganda, all of their things that you can buy online. So it's a profit-making venture, first of all. Second, it's a bunch of white guys who don't know nothing about nothing.
Well, I mean, they know. I mean, I've met these guys. They're from my hometown, and they're, you know, very religious, and they do. They look like blonde. They look like blonde surfer guys. They're very passionate about what they do, but when you say they know nothing about nothing, I mean, these guys have been over there. Do you think it's wrong that they've brought the issue to light for the American people, or are you just saying they're painting the picture falsely?
They know better. They're painting the picture falsely. That's how propaganda works. That's how journalists who are supposedly, you know, producing balanced articles work. It's an internal mechanism of self-censorship. Propaganda is essential to distill it down to a few simple facts. And in the case of this film, they're not even correct.
All right, all right. No, we do appreciate your perspective. We think it's really important to get that out there. Certainly, if you turn on CNN or Fox today, there's definitely only one side, and that's why we wanted to have you on, to kind of read between the lines for us, and we do appreciate it. War correspondent Keith Harmon Snow.